What is going on YouTube? Carter here. Got another video for you. We're looking at the Emerson Elvia. Really cool knife. It's kind of a little bit of a culty type status. So this is a collaboration with Ed Calderon. I'm not an expert on Ed and what he's done, but I think he worked on the Mexico side in the narcotics division, kind of doing super cool secret, taking down the what's they're called? Oh my gosh, my brain. The drug cartels. That's what I'm looking for. The cartels. That's the word I was scrambling to get. He did work on there, and so he used this kind of knife, a P-Cal style knife that was based off of a knife his mother used, Elvia, to do chores and stuff. And so he kind of popularized, I mean, this knife shape existed before, let's be honest, but he kind of revitalized it and brought it into kind of the tactical world. And he did a collaboration or collaborations with Emerson to turn it into a cool folding knife, and it was super successful and worked out really well. So I've got two versions here. This is the regular size with the wave in the Thunderstorm finish, and this is the super size without the wave in the Thunderstorm finish. And you may say, why do you have both of these? I shouldn't have both of these. This popped up. They did a run on the wave. I think this is the first time that the wave has appeared on the Elvia. This run, this is number 86. This popped up, but what I really wanted was the super, and then right after I bought this, a super popped up on the secondary market. So I bought the super. So I think I'm going to sell this one probably. And as you can see, the regular version is fairly small. You know, it's not a giant knife compared to the super here, which is considerably bigger. However, I'm kind of torn because I do feel like this knife should have a wave, right? And when it first came out, the first runs, I believe, were, you know, the regular size, obviously. The super is pretty new. This one's number 31. So supers are fairly new, but the regular size did not have a wave. And Emerson kind of said he had reasons for it. And everyone was like, why would you not have a super tactical fighting knife without the wave? It doesn't make sense. I don't know what those reasons are. The only thing I could guess is that maybe it had to do with, it does kind of hit your hand. Like with the size of this knife, when I flick it open, like how I want to hold it, position my thumb, this thing almost hits my finger and almost prevents it. Like if I hold it up a little high, it didn't lock because, see, it didn't lock because it hit my thumb. So maybe that's part of the reason why. It's really not that big of a deal though, because, you know, if I just want to hold it, I'm just below, right? Just below, it doesn't cause an issue. Plus you get the ability to wave it open, which works just fine. Whereas the super here, I guess it's the same thing. I was thinking that the super would not have that be an issue, but you can kind of see it may actually even be a little worse. That's interesting. Because like with no wave, it almost touches my knuckle. And I would imagine with that wave, it would touch the knuckle. So interesting. Anyways, I digress. So it's a P-Cal style knife, very aggressive, kind of cool fighting knife. One of the things that's pretty sweet is the Ed Calderon Sneak Reaper logo right there, which is just, it's such a cool, such cool iconography. That's part of the collaboration right there. And then I've also purchased the Sneak Reaper pocket clip. You got a matchy. This one here has no pocket clip. Why does it not have a pocket clip? I just realized it doesn't have a pocket clip on it. I think I had a Sneak Reaper on here and I took it off, and then I was going to put on the normal one again, and I just never did. So I need to put a clip on this thing. It does come with a clip, so don't let that fool you. It comes with a clip. So how is this knife meant to be held? Well, really it's meant to be held in reverse grip with the blade moving towards you, with the concept being that you use the wrist to kind of dig like a cat, like a cat claw. That's the idea, is that this functions kind of like an animal claw, how you would grab and pull towards you, right? So the idea is that you're going to have more force if you dig it in and then you pull back and you're able to rip, tissue and sinew and all kinds of stuff, as opposed to having it be the other way where you're kind of scooping up, or if you're running up at the top, or I guess this way is kind of the other way to do it where it's more, sorry, I'm trying to do these big hand movements on this little camera. So the other way would be this fashion where you're kind of pushing the blade, right? Whereas this one's meant to kind of pull it back. And it works pretty dang good. When it's in your pocket, you pull it out, and then blade deploys if it's a wave feature, or you flick it open, and then you kind of just plop it down in your hand. Try not to cut myself here, and you're good to go. And of course, you can also use it just as a utility tool, you know, as a cutter. It's got this big recurve right here, so if you're pulling it through material, the material is going to stay right here in the center, just like a recurve. Really good for cutting, really good for fruit, really good for skinning things. All around good utility blade that can also be used as a dragon's tooth as well. 154 cm. This has the thunderstorm finish, which is still up for debate in terms of what exactly it is. I just know that I love it, and it looks really cool. Liner lock, standard Emerson stuff. So it's hard to review Emersons because they use such standardized things, right? You've got your kind of profile, shape, and functionality, size. Everything else is the same. G10's the same as your standard Emerson knives. Everything's the same thickness. Standoffs are the same. Pocket clips the same. The benefit of that, though, if you've ever thought about getting into Emersons and your hang-up is they all just look the same, you know, like you get a couple of them and it's like, yeah, it's a different blade shape, but it's the same damn knife. One of the benefits to that, though, is you can interchange parts. You know, you can buy a bunch of different pocket clips with different lasering. You can buy super expensive pocket clips. You can buy different thumb discs. You can buy different colored standoffs, and you can throw them on whatever knife you want to throw them on. They're all interchangeable. You know, if maybe you're really into this knife right now, so you take all your swag and you put it on this one, you put your monster titanium thumb disc on here, you know, you get your expensive pocket clip on here and you're kind of showing it off. And then a month later, you're like, oh, actually, I want to carry my Super Commander. That's what I'm into. You can take all this off and just throw it on the Super Commander. It all fits. All of it fits. Interchangeable. And that's kind of cool because you don't have to think, every time you buy a knife, you don't have to think, oh, I want to pimp this out, but it's just going to be extra money on this knife, and I've got all these other ones, and you know, do I pimp this one? Do I put them on this one? Do I order it for this? It's all interchangeable. You can have just a big old baggie of cool Emerson aftermarket parts and throw it on whatever knife you happen to be into at that any given moment. So anyways, the Elvia from Strider is a really cool, aggressive knife. The way this blade kind of sits so far back, it takes a minute to get used to, because I remember when I first saw this knife, I saw pictures. It actually took me a minute to even understand what it was I was looking at, how it functioned, where the lock bar was, like how do you open this thing? For a minute, I was convinced it was a completely reversed blade, and I'm like, wait, where does the blade come out of? It is a little bit confusing at first, but it's actually not that confusing. I mean, all it is you would expect this knife to kind of maybe sit like this, but the blade just comes back more, and that is so that you can get more reach here. Otherwise, if it was straight out, then you'd really have to cock your hand back to get the kind of intended purpose of how to use this knife defensively, if that makes sense. Everything else is just pretty standard Emerson on this knife. It's obviously, when you talk ergonomics on this, it is the most ergonomic in this position. This is how it was kind of meant to be held. When you use it more on the utility side, this is very comfortable. This is not comfortable at all. This is quasi-comfortable. So it's, you know, I would say using it kind of like this is quite good for utility purposes. And then, of course, the main usage is this way. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Elvia from Emerson comes in Thunderstorm as well as the Stonewash finish. Super. So, okay, let's run through the models. So they have the regular Elvia, and you can get it waved or unwaved, Thunderstorm or Stonewash. And then the Super, as of right now, no wave with Stonewash and Thunderstorm. And the assumption is that there'll be a waved version of the Super at some point soon. So keep your eyes peeled if you're interested. But really cool knife. Check out Ed Calderon. He has a whole thing. He has a whole group. He has a podcast, all kinds of stuff where he talks about his adventures as well as other things. So, all right, guys. See you.